What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Trapfish Aquatics. So you want to learn how to make a water change schedule, or you're curious what a water change schedule is versus basic aquarium maintenance. And really, it's not much different, so this video is just going to teach new people and beginners in the aquarium hobby how to set up a water change schedule to be able to maintain your aquariums more efficiently and make it not so labor intensive. Now, that being said, this can be a very easy process, or it could make your aquarium keeping much more labor intensive depending on how your specific aquarium is set up. Every single aquarium is going to be different with the way that the water change schedule is handled, so just know that, depending on if you have driftwood in your aquarium, if you have heavy stocking, if you have light stocking, if you have really good filtration, or if your filtration's lacking a little bit, it's going to make a difference in how the water change schedule needs to happen, right? So setting up a schedule is going to help keep your fish a lot healthier and make it so that you hopefully don't have to test your water constantly to be able to figure out when you need to do a water change. Because I know a lot of people get into the hobby, they get their test kit, and they're testing water every single day to try and figure out when do they need to do a water change. And you will have to do that in the beginning of setting up a water change schedule, and you're going to have to test your water quite a bit. But once you figure out how long you can go without doing a water change, you're not going to have to test as much because you're already going to know. So the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go out and get yourself a way to test your water. You're going to need a water test kit for your aquarium. Personally, I do not recommend strips, as strips can be inaccurate depending on how long they've been sitting on the shelf, because they do have a shelf life. And personally, I would recommend the API Master Test Kit. This is what the front of it looks like right here, the Freshwater Master Test Kit by API. And then you've got your scale on the back for all of your water levels and the colors that the little test tubes will make your water in the vials they provide. So this is the kit that I recommend. This is the one I use. And I'll be honest with you guys, I hardly ever test my water unless I think something is wrong, because I have water change schedules set up for all of my tanks, and it made my life way easier, right? So something we need to have an understanding of is how the test kit works. So if you guys don't know how this test kit works, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below to one of my other videos showing you guys how the API Master Test Kit works. Super easy. Go ahead and check that link down in the description down below. So the thing that we're going to be focusing on primarily is going to be the nitrate test. So we're already assuming that your tank has been fully established, the nitrogen cycle is complete. So what we're focusing on is nitrate, because nitrate is going to determine how healthy our fish are in the long run, right? So the first thing you want to do is you want to test your water and get a nitrate reading. So let's say we went and tested our aquarium and the nitrate comes up 60 parts per million. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do a water change to get that under 40 parts per million. Ideally, 40 parts per million or less is going to be the healthiest area for your fish. You can obviously go a little bit higher than that. It's not recommended, but the effect it's going to have on your fish is very minimal. So ideally, in the ideal world, 40 ppm or less. So go ahead and do a water change and try and get your water down to 20 parts per million or lower. And the reason you want to get it lower than that is because what we're going to do is we're going to test our water daily to see how long it takes for our nitrate to reach 40 parts per million. So if we can get our water down to 20 parts per million, and then you feed normally the same amount every single day, or whatever your feeding schedule is, if you feed multiple times a day, if you feed once a day, if you feed every other day, continue your schedule as normal, but test your water daily to get nitrate readings. Once your aquarium reaches 40 parts per million nitrate, you want to figure out how many days that took in order to get there, right? So say we're at 20 ppm and 4 days later we were at 40 and I fed once a day, right? So basically at that point what we know is we have to do a 50% water change every 4 days in order to keep our aquarium under 40 parts per million, right? So how can we make that so that we can go longer for our water changes, Or if we want to do water changes every 2 days, or if you want to be a super maintenance person and do water changes daily, that means you can feed more if you want to do more water changes, or you can feed less to extend the amount of time between your water changes. So for example, if it took 4 days to go from 20 to 40, feeding once a day every day, then you can skip a day in between feedings, and that would theoretically double the amount of time. That means you could do water changes once every 8 days. So then you could set up a day and say, okay, I'm going to do my water changes on Sunday, and every Sunday I'm then going to do a 50% water change to bring my nitrate levels down to 20 parts per million, and then I know I'm good. At that point, as long as you keep your feeding schedule, you feed the same amount every day, right, or every other day, depending on whatever your schedule needs to be, to get your water changes where you want them and how often you want them. That's how you set it up. So if you are feeding every other day and you do your water changes every Sunday, you no longer need to test to see where your nitrate's at, because you already know how long it takes for your nitrate to get that high. At that point, you could test once a month, you could test once every 2 months, you could not test at all once you understand how your system and how the bacterial colonies in your aquarium handle that load. Now, if you add more fish, you're going to have to start this over, or if you lose fish, you can test it if you want to see if there's been any fluctuation. Now, one thing to note with this entire process is that we, the owners of the fish and the keeper of the aquarium, are responsible for how quickly the nitrate builds. And the reason for that is fish on their own, if they're not fed, don't produce nearly as much waste as they do as if we're feeding them. So essentially, the food that we give them is creating the waste that's creating the urea, the ammonia, converting it to nitrite and nitrate. So if we feed less, there's less waste in the tank. So that's how you're able to adjust your water change schedule and make it so that it's easier on us, and make it so that the water is cleaner for your fish, and make maintenance way less burdenful on yourself and your family. You get to spend more time with them and do things with them too. So that's how you set up a water change schedule. That's how you make aquarium maintenance easier. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click the like button down below. Thank you guys for watching Traffish Aquatics. Links, as always, in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.